Hello and welcome to Biogas TV, Season 3, Episode 3. I'm Paul Green and I run a biogas advisory business. I'm excited to be here today with my co-host Alex McFarland of R&G Connect, and we always close out our shows with our offtake roundup with Drew Pusho of Equus Energy. We are the #1 weekly live streaming biogas TV show in the world.
Undisputed.
Reigning champ.
By the
We
way,
continue to feature nominees from the Giants of Biogas Award journey. The Giants of Biogas have been featured for all of March and will run through April. Awards are handed out in conjunction with the huge biogas conference in May in Detroit. The Giants are all industry veterans who have truly moved the needle in our business. Today's episode is brought to you by IVUS Adsorption. IVUS is a leader in the supply of biogas upgrading equipment and CO2 capture and recovery units. Their industry-leading PSA systems can run at 99% methane recovery and can feature technical advantages over other approaches. Their packaged biostream units are extremely competitive. Look for them at www.ivusads.com. Today, we're pleased to feature Brian Paganini with Circular Services. Brian has been at point for the development, installation, and 10 years of operating the Quantum Bio project near Hartford, Connecticut. Quantum is among the country's crown jewels of projects. Brian oversees the company's commercial organics recycling operations across the East Coast. Circular Services is the largest privately held recycling company in the U.S., owning and operating 9 organics recycling facilities that include composting, AD, mulch, soils bagging, food waste pretreatment, and collection services. Quantum was acquired by Circular Services in 2024 to complement its nation's leading approach to recycling and organics recovery. Brian's a grad of UConn School of Business and serves as a board member of the Recycle Connecticut Foundation. Brian, how's it going today?
It's going great, Paul. Thank you for having me, and good to see Alex, and pleasure to meet Drew. So thanks for having me on today.
Welcome to Biogas TV, and congratulations on the nomination to be a giant of biogas.
I appreciate it. I feel like this is apart from the birth of my children and my wedding, this is a great honor. So this is a friendly group, and it's my pleasure to be here today.
Very well. So we can take this however we want. Did you want to lead with your video, or how do we?
Sure, yeah, sure. I'm happy to do that, and I think visuals are always very nice in these types of conversations. So let me navigate the technology parts and get us to. There we go. Okay. All right, just give me a confirmation, Paul, that we can see this.
Yes, we're good.
Yep.
Thank you. Excellent. Okay, great. Well, again, thank you for having me today, and coming to you today as a founder, a developer, and an operator of what I'll call one of the more robust organics processing campuses in the Northeast, if not the East Coast. This facility we're going to talk about here today is a process among many processes that occupy our campus in Southington, Connecticut. This digester, we'll talk about sort of the development framework of this facility as our conversation goes on today, but this facility was built in 2015, and it was really built as a way to turn food waste into good compost. So for us, we investigated a lot of different technologies, and we arrived at anaerobic digestion for a variety of reasons, but mostly because we wanted to have a kind of a compact way to turn food waste into gas, and then obviously take the digesting materials and use them as a nutrient basis to complement our existing composting and soils operation. So we built this facility ourselves, started in 2015. We commissioned it in 2016, and then we put the open sign, the neon open sign in the front door, waited for the food waste to come in, and food waste was coming in. Unfortunately, it was coming in package form and not in source separate organic material form as we had built this facility to receive. So we quickly retooled our strategy in 2017 and we built a depackaging facility, which is center screen right now. This depackaging facility has 6 drive-in loading bays, two loading docks, and a variety of equipment and technology on the inside of this facility that can both treat food waste, but also recover packaging and materials such as OCC, aluminum, thin film, and PET to make sure that we are really adhering to the standards that we set for ourselves in material recovery, but also that our customers are asking to do by way of treating and recycling their food scraps and getting the recovering the packaging materials from that stream. So this really is kind of the 1-2 punch of our facility. We've got 5 processes in this plant, 2 receiving bays. The one is the depack for receiving our packaged food waste. We've got a receiving lane, which is a pit-style reception facility that takes a lot of our rear-end loader work. Obviously, we've got the anaerobic process, which is a 2-stage thermophilic process brought to us by our partners out in Belgium. We go through a desulfurization step. All of our gas on campus is pushed through a combined heat and power system. We go to the grid through a wonderful construct called the virtual net metering program that we could talk about. We were very instrumental in passing that mandate back in 2016 to allow us to sell our power to the grid. There's a couple of funny stories there. And then we've got a very robust dewatering and wastewater treatment process on our campus. Unfortunately, we're not in an ag setting. We are in a citified area, so we had to figure out a great way to manage our wastewater, and we do that here on campus. As this drone kind of pans more to the left, you'll see the makeup of the campus, which is our green waste and composting facility. And in future sort of video, you'll kind of get a better look at how that works and operates. But the totality of this campus, we're recycling 100,000 tons of organic waste on a yearly basis. 50% of that is food waste. The other 50% is green waste. And we define green waste as logs, stumps, brush, grass clippings, chunk wood, and really any type of untreated virgin woody waste material. And we take those materials and we will process them mostly through a stationary grinder, which is in the backdrop of this video. This stationary grinder is an electrically driven grinder that runs from the power on the campus. We will take a tree on one end of this process and turn it into a pile of colored or non-colored bark mulch at the far end in a matter of 30 seconds. You can see at the top of our storage facility and our volume reduction plants, we have a lot of stockpiled material where we're segregating those materials and staging them in anticipation of being processed. And then as the camera kind of pans around the northern part of our site, you will see our compost production screening process. We run a backhouse windrow turner. This is a traditional windrow turn compost facility where obviously a lot of the carbon-rich material streams that we take on campus are blended with our digestate, and we make a highly valuable natural organic compost and soil. Most recently, we have built a bagging building on this campus, just commissioned 30 days ago. Our bagging building will bag our potting soil mixes, our raised bed mixes, and our compost, as well as our natural bark mulch materials. You could see to the left of this bagging building, we are staging our pallets of material for our customers. We have a variety of customers that are either sourcing a material that we put into their bags as a co-bagging relationship, or we are bagging our own product called circular compost and circular soils and pushing that back into the marketplace. So this bagging facility has the ability to bag 2.5 million bags per year. We have plans to install a second line, which will reach capacity, which we are well on our way to doing. And really, the overall goal of this facility was for us to be able to fully complete the circle of taking food scraps into this campus and woody waste, converting it into a usable material, and putting it into a vessel like a bag that can then get back to some of our customers who are desiring to really demonstrate to their customers a complete circular model. So we're very proud of this recent build out as well. And that's it.
Great presentation.
Thank you.
So
Cool.
your digestate solids are going into composting.
Yeah, that's correct. Our digestate solids do go into composting. That took us it took us a long time, Alex, to figure out that process and how that works. I'm not going to sugarcoat the complexity of managing a very nutrient dense material stream like a digestate, and how that works in the right sort of balance of carbon and nitrogen, achieving the right bulk density, and making sure that your finished product hits a nutrient target that is amenable to your customer base. And our customer base is varied, right? We have indoor greenhouse growers, we have farmers, we also have the general public, and there's a variety of needs and uses based on what the growing outcome is. So we spent a long time really fine tuning and dialing in that blend. Took us 5 to 6 years. We had a lot of help from our friends at Yale and Southern, also Cornell and Penn State along the way, to design this soil matrix over many growability studies. And at the culmination of that growability cycle, it took us 3 years to really test this material. We found out that, hey, the stuff actually works in terms of plant rooting, plant vigor and growth, soil hydration and nutrient dispersion, and making just nutrients that were available to plants. Was a process to get to that stage, but we're very happy
I think
about it.
you're underscoring kind of one of the key challenges of it's all about digestate management. For these projects, and you've built the digester is located within a campus treating a large volume of other organic materials, right? So digestate management is baked into the overall facility, right? I mean, it's that opportunity is there. But even with that, it underscores how much time it took you to demonstrate value on the biogas, on the digestate, and then how to rely on that as an outlet, right?
Exactly. I mean, the valorization of all these streams is critically important, particularly for a merchant commercial scale plant like ours, right? I think one of the challenges, among many challenges, was we were building a new technology in a highly regulated state, a technology that really none of us had experience with. We built the facility ourselves, and then we had to build the business and the business model and the use case around that technological platform. And a part of that, obviously, was the inbound side, the outbound side, as we defined as two streams: energy and compost. So the compost piece, we always knew we were going to get there. I think we underestimated the challenges associated with creating a good saleable product, but we're here now, and we're thankful for it.
So the 2.5 million bags per year, which is just a shocking number, but that's commonly called, is that a soil amendment? And then what would be the nutrient value of that bag material?
Yeah, it's a great question. So we've got 6 product SKUs, 3 of which are a soil, 3 of which are a bark mulch. I'll focus on the soil side. We've got a raised bed mix and a compost. Typically, we're striking the compost is really in the bag, and really we focus on nutrient density, on nitrogen. Going to be about a 2% nitrogen product, which most composts you see in the marketplace are a 0.5 thereabouts nitrogen density. So for us, we're making a very nitrogen rich product. That's by design. We like to tell our customers that we've got a lot of what we'll call sort of bespoke farmers, and a lot of growers that like to cut our material with other things to create better bulk density, better porosity, and maybe other things that are important for their growing cycles or their material outcomes. So for us, we think we've got a good balance here, but we can be reactive, and we have been reactive in creating tailored soils to the need.
Sure. Maybe chat about the energy side of what you have going on there. I can remember watching video of you before the Connecticut Energy Commission doing some real bleeding edge remote net metering ideas. What are your lessons learned, and how's that CHP working for you these days?
Yeah, so I think this was one, in the annals of learnings of a commercial merchant digester project. Early on, we had where we're located in Southern Connecticut. There's a pretty good industrial base of operation in and around our area: spring manufacturers, engine parts, things of that nature. So early on, our goal was to say, hey, we're going to launch a front of meter program where, why can't we just dig a trench to our neighbor who has a 2 megawatt per year appetite, let's call it, hook up an extension cord and sell them some power. I think that's a great idea. Come to find out, our host utility had a problem with that. And that really pushed us into a lane that we didn't think we would be in, which was policy writing, advocacy, and really helping the state of Connecticut to shape what would now be known as the virtual net metering program. Connecticut did not have a virtual net metering mandate, which effectively gave class one renewable energy producers like us the ability to virtually sell our electrons to beneficial off-takers like municipalities. So we put pen to paper in 2015. We helped to write this legislation. It took us 2 legislative rounds to get it passed. And in 2017, the state of Connecticut was the 13th state in the United States to pass a virtual net metering program. And effectively, what that allows us to do is for every electron that we produce from our combined heat and power system, we sell that electron to the grid. We pay a rental fee to wheel that electron to 5 beneficial accounts in our host community, the police station, fire station, school, the wastewater treatment plant, and the municipal building here in town.
You
And it
get
really
paid the wholesale rate, or are you getting the fully loaded rate plus distribution?
we get rate plus distribution, Alex. It's a PPA termed rate. So it's a 20-year PPA. We're in the 8th or 9th year of that power purchase agreement. And we have a sharing mechanism where we share the renewable energy credit upside of every electron we put onto the grid. So there's mutually aligned incentive, which is really a great outcome, in the world of a public-private partnership. For us, it was the first really formal agreement with the town. And then from there, we further strengthened our relationship with our host community. We started managing the town's leaves, leased the town landfill. And since then, we've just had a wonderful relationship with our host community for a variety of reasons. But the energy offtake piece was really the seminal moment for us to have just really solidify our presence in the community, and really do something good for the community, because we're able to save the town about 30% off the electron based on our rate that we get them our power at. So it's a really good sharing.
What about some of the tougher sides of running a business like yours? Things like safety, things like odors, things like being a good neighbor. Any of those threads you want to pull on a little bit?
Yeah, I mean, look, we could fill up 10 biogas TV segments talking about all that stuff. I mean, I think what I'll say is, I'll start with this comment. Running and operating a merchant food waste digester like this is many factors more challenging than developing and constructing it. What I'll say is that the shiny widget of a digester breaks down frequently. There are frequent interruptions. There's always going to be challenges. And every time there's a challenge, it opens the door for that odor, that hour of downtime, interruption in service, having the potential to say no to a customer to bring food waste in. So I think over the years, my philosophy has evolved to where we are now believers that, yes, we run an organics recycling business that has fancy equipment and people and know-how. But at the end of the day, it's about the people that run the business and the culture within the business. And we spend a lot of time, and I am, some would say sort of fanatical about the culture of our business, because it shows through in the daily operation. We treat people like family members within the 4 walls of our company. People have what we call a we mentality. Everyone subscribes to the mission of the business, and they have selfless behaviors in terms of, hey, if we need to stay late or burn some hours on the weekend, there have been times where we'll come in on a holiday and look, I'm there with them. If that's the case, we're going to get the job done. And at the end of the day, I'll say, Paul, that's a differentiating factor in our industry. It's the people, the operations teams that make sure the widget and the process stay on good footing to get a good result.
Congratulations. I mean, your facilities, you step foot in there, odor free in the middle of a residential neighborhood, and it shows well, and it's a pretty facility. So hat tip to you on all those fronts.
Appreciate that. Thank you.
So as far as like getting feedstock, is it hard to get feedstock?
Yeah, I would say, look, we're a merchant facility. early on, as I alluded to, we sort of put the neon open sign in the door, and we're waiting for the for the banana peels and onions to show up in the front door. It was a process. Connecticut, thankfully, was one of the first states in the U.S. to have a food diversion mandate. We heavily supported that mandate through the formative stages of this business. The mandate in the state of Connecticut now is if you make food waste that north of a half a ton a week, and you're a commercial establishment or a state facility, anywhere in the state of Connecticut, you've got to divert those tons. And now there's a self-reporting function in Connecticut that we strongly supported, where businesses have to self-report the amount of food waste they generate. So back in the day, we didn't have that. We just had a compelling story to tell, and really didn't have the market dynamics of tightening MSW capacity or a sort of unchecked MSW disposal rate, which today in Connecticut, to throw trash away, it's $125 a ton, maybe $130 a ton. We really had a market where it was maybe $65 a ton to throw away trash. So we were always trying to be more competitive in that dynamic going to our customers. So early on, very tough to get food waste, really tough to educate people, tough to get them to divert, and tough to convince them that this was a right path for them to pursue.
Do you have
Fast
collection on the front end at all, Brian, as far as like regional commercial generators?
in terms of internal collection capabilities, Alex, is that what you're asking?
Yeah, yeah. You have your own
So
trucks?
we do. We do have our own trucks. We have 15 Class A trucks that will go out and collect bulk waste. We also have 8 rear end loaders where we're collecting our own food waste. Our catchment, if you will, we'll collect food waste from all 4 corners of the state of Connecticut. We will also transport packaged food waste probably 150 miles away from the campus. Packaged food waste travels a lot better than rear end loader material. But to get back to the heart of the question, I think the market has changed dramatically in the past 2 or 3 years in the Northeast and in the South, where the market factors, the economic drivers of high cost of disposal, limited capacity for trash. People are now saying, okay, if I can go dispose of my food waste at $70 a ton at Circular's facility, then maybe that's a good outcome for us to go pursue. So we see a lot of that starting to take shape. Also, couple that with a lot of our corporate partners out there who have large regional businesses, a lot of large retailers are trying to do well by their corporate sustainability missions, and and those missions aren't regional. Those mission statements bleed into Florida and to Texas. So we're starting to see this evolution in those markets as well, of a strengthening of an attention to food diversion. And really people are starting to pay more attention to, okay, if it worked in the Northeast, because Northeast is probably a little bit further ahead in the diversion paradigm, it probably will work in the South, probably is going to work in the Southeast. And we're starting to see that, sort of those market tenants start to take shape.
So your role within Circular Services, then, are you trying to bring this platform nationwide, or just where there's some diversion mandates?
Well, the good thing about Circular is, and this part of what attracted us to the acquisition, was Circular had a very strong presence of recycling in a lot of states that appear to be interesting to us. So prior to joining Circular, there were 27 MRF facilities operating in markets like Brooklyn, Austin, Texas, San Antonio, Sarasota, Florida, deep in the Midwest. So there was this basis of recycling that was really interesting. And I think for us, we are an organics recycling facility that really, in the world of digestion, we didn't come from the ag space. We came really from the recycling and waste space. So we saw a lot of good of alignment with the Circular Services team. Plus, they just shared a lot of the same cultural values as us. And I know a lot of those folks are on the phone today. This team is just full of grit, full of vision, full of just can-do attitude. So we felt very good in the family of the business. So I think going forward, Paul, the goal for us is going to be, how do we strategically and thoughtfully overlay a lot of the things that we've done in Southington, parts of that maybe, whether that's pre-processing or digestion or composting or bagging. How do we do that in the other markets that we're currently serving, where we have existing operation, have existing footprint, have existing land space? And how do we do that with our laundry list of corporate partners who are looking to find services in other parts of the U.S. as well?
Nice. So I would just congratulations to your founder, who essentially is the word self-funding this project. Is he pulled it out of his wallet? Is that how we got it built?
Yeah, this was the bootstrappiest thing you've ever seen. This was backyard ingenuity. We broke it 10 ways, fixed it 11 times, did everything the way you shouldn't have done it. But looking back on it, I think we got an education in real world process. And I think that's made this operations team who they are today because we made all the mistakes. And now that we can look back in hindsight, we have a ton of wisdom, a ton of knowledge. And I think this operations group is much better for it.
Well, all the best to your journey with Circular going forward, and go UConn in the NCAA men's big dance.
Go UConn for
Okay,
sure. We
Brian.
appreciate that.
So great to see you. Thank you for all your experience. Just unbelievable. You've had so many challenges: feedstock, power, digest date, water management. You've done a hell of a job there.
I appreciate that. It's we want to keep the parade going. We're at a point now where we've got an expansion on the horizon. We are now going to upsize this campus by 2.5x at the digester. Shameless plug mode. We're looking for a strong project manager to help lead that next phase of growth. So please, by all means, reach out to us if you know anyone. But at the end of the day, it's our people, it's our tenacity, and it's friendships like you, Paul, and Alex, and that's why we love this space. We couldn't do it without you guys and our team internally and externally. So we appreciate it.
Okay.
Yeah, I think from my standpoint, Brian, there are a few folks who've actually had to live with these food waste digesters over years and years, and it takes a level of stick-to-itiveness and engagement with the community that I think you've shown a remarkable patience for, or you just did an absolute determination, dog on a bone kind of attitude, and that's what it takes. And I like great lesson for all of us, frankly.
I appreciate those words, Alex. It's a ton of grit, and look, it's not me. It's a lot of the guys in the field and ladies and men in the field, and it's the folks on this call today. They're tenacious, and we're very blessed to have that mentality in our business. So,
all right, great stuff. So we'll wrap up our episode today with our friend Drew with our offtake roundup. You got some wisdom to share, Drew?
Not much changed in the offtake pricing space and world in the last week, but we did see some interesting movements in the markets. D3 RINs on Wednesday traded up as high as 252, and we're under the impression that there was a Reuters report that came out that kind of spiked the market briefly that day, trading right back down to 241 ever since. It still seem to be kind of caught in this band where a lot of market participants are waiting for the EPA Set 2 to be finalized, which we look like we're still on track for end of March. And keeping in mind a couple of important dates. So hopefully on or before March 31st, Set 2. April 1st begins generating credits in New Mexico for the New Mexico Clean Fuel Program. And March 27th, deadline for applications to import RNG into Singapore. So that's one date that a number of people have been keeping their eyes on. We have a couple of discussions going with some of the groups in Singapore looking to import RNG. It's not going to be something this year, but it is an active conversation. And I think one of the things that are mindful for this week's show, in what Brian talked about, is utilizing all of your revenue streams or all of your available revenue streams, and having the grit to follow through and say, okay, well, this one we thought was, we thought we were going to inject RNG into a pipeline, but maybe not. Maybe there's a different route we need to go. Biogas to SAF maybe, or power, generating power in RECs, finding a PPA. There's a lot of dynamics to this market that you don't see in a lot of other renewable markets, and it certainly makes it more complicated and challenging, but it also makes it a little bit more, rewarding in my mind, at least. All the dynamic aspects of what we see.
We're not going to get replaced by ChatGPT this afternoon anyway. We still got some real brain work we got to do.
Not yet.
Yeah. Another important price point, really quick. We unfortunately did see LCFS pricing come off last week. We were trading up above $70, and now we're trading right around $60. The futures prices have gone up about 25 cents this morning, which is nice. We'll see if we get some physical trades to follow suit with that. But hoping that that is a short-lived dip as well.
All right. Well, thank you for the update, Drew. Appreciate it. So, happy Monday. Have a great week, everyone. We'll close out the episode. We'll see everybody same time, same